So we've finally gotten the official reveal of the Horse Knight Castle. I've got quite a few thoughts on the set, so I thought I'd make a video showing you some of what I love and hate about the new set. Starting off with the good, we've got two brand new factions in the set, which is pretty exciting. The castle is guarded, of course, by the new Horse Knights. These guys have a lovely blue, white, and gold color scheme that bears a pretty strong resemblance to the recent Dragonborn Paladin. I think a lot of people are going to be combining their parts when the castle comes out this summer. The king would look fantastic with the chainmail arms, and you could also add in some more variation to your army by using the legs from the paladin. Speaking of, this alternate armor here for the king looks fantastic. It looks pretty similar to the regular soldiers, but it has some more gold detailing that really just makes him stand out. He's also bringing back the hair crown mold for the first time in a while. I believe the last time we actually got this piece in brown was like a decade ago. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about these new parts. And moving over to the regular Horse Knights, we get a pretty simple looking armor design that fits in well with the Black Falcons and other new style knights. This design of torso is pretty hard to mess up, and I think LEGO did a great job with it. The horse sigil is pretty sharp looking, and the gold trim around the shield looks great. I'm pretty happy with it. Though if I had to nitpick anything from this figure, I'd say that I'm not a very big fan of this belt design, but it could look a lot worse. Now, the other faction is my personal favorite in the set. This is the new Rogue Snake faction. Unfortunately, we only got one of them in the set, but I don't care. This character looks so cool. The purple, black, and yellow color scheme is both regal looking, but also very intimidating. You can see here on his torso that he carries some of those snake motifs with the scaled collar around his neck, and his belt design also kind of gives off that impression. Just gorgeous looking printing all around, and he also uses this new shield mold for the first time in castle history. Now you may know that this mold originally came from the Zelda set, but I think it translates really nicely into the traditional castle theme. And the snake sigil on it is simple, but it looks really sharp. I think the new snake and horse sigils both look really nice, and I think they kind of contrast each other really well. And again, if I had to complain about one thing on this figure, I think I'd say the choice of regular yellow for the shield and feather. Bright light orange is a color that the Raven Knights use, and I think it's just a better shade of yellow, especially because these guys come with yellow skin tones. Now, if you did swap out this head for a realistic skin tone, then I think it'd look a lot better. There's just something off about having his shield be the exact same color as his face. I don't know. Either way, both of these new factions look absolutely stellar, and I cannot wait to get my hands on them. Anyways, now that we've taken a pretty thorough look at the figures, let's talk about the build. And since we're still talking about what I like in this set, we've got to check out the new brick-built horses. Now, a lot of people are not happy that they didn't include molded horses in the set, but I've got to say, I don't care. LEGO 3-in-1 almost always goes the route of brick-built animals because the whole theme is about creativity. And also, these horses just look fantastic. The curved hooves are sculpted super well, and the head looks just about as good as it gets for this small of a scale. I really love how they designed these horses, and to tell you the truth, I'm a little sad that most people aren't a fan of these. I think they are the best looking builds in the whole set, and I hope people warm up to them once they get them in person. Anyways, now let's talk about what I hate in the set. Unfortunately, the castle looks bad. When I first saw a blurry leak of this a couple weeks ago, I was really disappointed. And while I'm still not very keen on the design, it's not as bad as I first thought. Many have said that the castle looks like a Duplo castle, and while I don't necessarily agree with that, I can kind of see where you're coming from. The designers made a lot of strange decisions here. First of many of those being that the set includes 0 masonry bricks. So the walls look pretty bland without them. This is really obvious when you compare it to the old 3-in-1 castle from 2021. That set uses a couple of masonry bricks throughout the walls, and it really just helps the overall finish. The new castle doesn't use any masonry bricks, and it just looks pretty flat, to be honest with you. They did go with some modified bricks, but they just look rough. It's really a shame because the layout of this castle isn't horrible, but it just ends up looking really messy. Again, I don't want to compare too much, but the old 3-in-1 castle had a very similar piece count, but it ends up looking a lot cleaner and just easier to read. The new castle is just strange to look at, my eyes aren't drawn across the castle naturally, and really the only redeeming bit of it is the tan and blue building on the right side. I think they nailed this section of the castle, and I love the little turret on the top and the walkway for the king. It's just a shame that the rest of the castle doesn't look as good as this. Thankfully though, because this is a 3-in-1 castle, we do have 2 alternate builds that I think look a little bit better than the main model. First of those is the farm/outpost. This one's a open playset style build that I think would be a lot of fun for kids, but it's not exactly a display worthy model. Though we do have the tournament joust model. This one is very clearly a reference to the Kingdoms era joust set, and I think they did a pretty good job recreating it with the pieces available. The towers don't look great, but the shaping and overall composition of the model is just a lot more pleasing to the eye than the others. If I had to choose one to display, I'd probably pick the joust, but in all likelihood, I'll be looking for a rebrickable model to build. That's pretty much all I've got to say about this set, so please let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and as always, thank you so much for watching.